video version now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iAppleTree podcast. I am your host, iAppleTree, aka the iTunes fanboy, aka Teddy Maggart, and we also, who is our co-host. First up, in iOS 16, there is going to be a designated area feature, so that way you can keep track of when you need to take which pills.
That'll be cool for some people.
Yeah, because right now it's pretty easy to remember what pills I have to take because all I have to take is my allergy medication every day.
Yeah, but for some, of the elderly population,
Yeah.
make things a lot better. I do wish that they would not make this an iPhone exclusive, because there is some apps that are iPhone exclusive right now, and a lot of elderly people tend to have iPads alongside a flip phone due to their bad vision. And it would really suck if they just decide to lock this to just iPhones.
Yeah, unfortunately this will be a feature in the health app, so it will be locked to just iPhones. But this will benefit my grandma because she's literally vice versa. She has an iPhone but no iPad.
Yeah, my grandma has an iPhone SE for second gen and an iPad, I think a 6, whichever one was the latest in 2019.
That would have been the 7th actually. So
Yeah, the
she
7th.
so she and I use the same iPad.
Yeah, she's had hers for a while and she loves it.
I
Space Gray, 32 gig.
I also have one Space Gray 32 gigs, but it's not actually been great for me. It's not actually the storage. The storage is fine for me, but the issue is obviously its screen randomly broke a few months ago.
Yeah, my
And
grandma's been having issues with apps crashing on it, actually.
yeah, well, yeah, I haven't had those issues, but again, that's likely a software-related glitch. And if you know me, you know very well I keep all my Apple devices up to date.
Yeah, I'm on one version out of date on my main phone. I'm on 15.4 for stability.
I'm actually joking. I do not keep my iOS devices up to date. My 11 Pro Max, iPhone 11 Pro Max is still running iOS 15.4. I think my I think my Apple Watch is still running some version of WatchOS 7, which is a
I
Series
have
5.
no idea what my watch is on. I've
Yeah,
never updated it.
and my iPad 7th generation is still running iPadOS 13.1.1, the version it came on. And it's just which meant and it's just one version away from its launch version, which was 13.1.
Yeah, I actually never really update my watches. I remember my Apple Watch SE was on, I believe, the launch version, like the 0.0 version, until like May or June, where I was updating it to see if the battery health would update, because the battery health was stuck at 100.
Yeah. Again, it could have just been a good battery, but
Yeah, it actually lasted. The battery health stayed at 100 until I had it for 10 months, which is insane.
yeah. Again, we all know how inaccurate the battery health can be sometimes because my iPhone 8 Plus, when I last used it as my main phone back in December, it had. Let me actually boot it up and see what the battery health in it is now.
Yeah, my 13 Pros never went below what was it, 100% health. They never went down, and my 13 Pro Max is still at 100.
Yeah, I'm currently booting up my iPhone 8 Plus because it's obviously not my main phone anymore, and I tend to keep my non-main devices shut down.
Yeah, me too. Except my secondary, since I have to use that pretty
I
often.
still have Apple Arcade free for 3 months, huh? If I
That's
have,
cool.
I don't have a credit card on my account, so I can't activate the battery health. Oh, it updated to 81.
Oh, did that go up or down?
It went up from 78.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that, yeah, so, but my grandfather, who was legally blind, back before he passed away in 2010, and that prior Christmas, he had his iPod Shuffle, which second generation, which he was given a couple years earlier. And he also had an iPod Classic 7th generation that he got for Christmas. That way he could watch videos if he wanted to. But he did, because he was legally blind, he preferred the navigation of the iPod Shuffle far more.
Yeah.
He probably would have gotten an iPad at some point if he had lived long enough, because there would be because of the accessibility settings on the iPad.
Yeah. He would have loved iOS 13 due to its accessibility features.
Yeah. He probably would have even liked the iOS 5 voiceover, or whenever voiceover came out.
Yeah, I think it was iOS 5. Yeah.
I think it was either 4 or 5, but I know
No,
he.
it was 3. It was 3, but it was limited to the 3GS or above, I believe.
He would have really liked that update, but he didn't live long enough to get an iPhone because his carrier was Verizon, and he obviously passed away before iPhones came to Verizon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I do still have his old Motorola Razr, which also have the original box for, and it even has some old photos on there, and it has a great battery on it.
That's really cool.
Yeah. In fact, I have most of my grandfather's old phones, with the exception of one Samsung flip phone, which he dropped in the toilet, of course, and you know what happened.
Ah, wow.
And he and I have all of my grandmother's old phones.
That's cool. I have most of my grandma's old phones. I have her old LG, her old SE1. That's about it. She only really had like 3 phones. She only upgrades when she has to. She's
Yeah.
had 2G, 3G, and 2 4Gs now.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, my grandmother's also that way. She doesn't really like to upgrade her stuff unless she has to, which makes sense because her pre back in 2015 she had to upgrade to a window to a window all-in-one Acer desktop, which she does still have. It's just very it just she just doesn't use it anymore from her Windows Vista PC.
Oh, wow.
But she hated Windows 10 so much that she actually had my mom help her downgrade back to 8.1.
Yeah, I would do the same.
And my grandmother did back in 2018, because her Acer was getting too slow. She got another Acer Tower desktop that that is surprisingly still working fine.
That's good. Yeah, my grandma hasn't had a computer since 2019. She didn't use it for years, so she gave it to me. Turned out it didn't even work.
Yeah, someday I'll convince my grandmother to switch to a Mac. Someday.
Yeah, Macs are the superior option, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Much, much, much superior. I can't stand Windows.
Yeah, my grandmother just doesn't really like Mac. She's not really interested in switching to Macs at the moment, just because she's fine with her PCs and doesn't want to spend more, but someday I'll convince her.
Yeah, because Macs are obviously, well, higher quality.
Yeah, I mean, we both use Macs every single day.
I'm using my MacBook Pro 2012 right now.
Yeah, I have a 2012 model too. That's a 15-inch model that has an i7, but its motherboard.
13-inch Retina 2012 with a pretty damaged display. There's a bunch of like LCD. Wait. Oh. The LCD marks went away, so there's just a big line on the side. Wow, I was not expecting the LCD lines to go away. Or
Yeah.
the LCD marks that I created.
Yeah, but unfortunately the motherboard died on my 2012 MacBook Pro, which was not too
Oh, that sucks.
which I kind of saw it coming because you probably remember how it would not go any higher than macOS Sierra.
Yeah, I remember. I was trying to help you get it on something higher.
Yeah, and so
And
it turned. Yeah, I always found that strange until I realized, yeah, it's just a motherboard issue.
yeah, does it even work at all now?
Nope, and it doesn't even have, which is really a shame because I put a 480 gigabyte SSD and 16 gigabytes of RAM into that computer and was even going to use it for video editing, which would have really helped me until I got this 2019 MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately, I can't do video editing in higher than 1080 on my current
yeah,
MacBook Pro.
again,
Um,
yeah,
I
again,
tried 4K and it got up to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit before I just gave up.
it got, yeah, it get, yeah, I do. I still am not too comfortable doing 4K on my 2019 MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I used to do 4K on everything just for a bit of, I guess, future proofing. But I decided it was probably best to just stick with 1080 for now on
Yeah,
this older.
yeah, just because it takes so much more time to do 4K videos,
Yeah.
which is why I don't do
Yeah,
it.
one of
But
the reasons why I actually did like 4K though was because I could crop in an insane amount without losing anything like major in quality.
yeah, that I haven't noticed that, but again, I haven't done a whole lot of playing around with 4K.
Yeah.
I do, I still maybe sometime in the next few months I might get a replacement 2012 MacBook Pro.
Yeah, you could buy a new motherboard and have your repair shop swap the motherboard out.
I would, yeah, I could do, I guess I could do that, but I just don't, but I just haven't gotten a, I've actually not been able to find motherboards.
Oh yeah.
So I
Yeah,
looked into that, but I couldn't
hard.
find any, and even so I think I'm just going to probably wind up getting another 2012 unibody MacBook Pro that's 15 inches with a Core i7,
Yeah.
because that, and then, but I'll obviously have to get some new RAM for that specific computer since because the RAM and the SSD were both broken in my 2010 MacBook Pro, but it was still good in my 2012 MacBook Pro, and both computers were broken. Guess what my repair shop put the RAM and SSD into?
An old Windows laptop.
No, my 2010 MacBook Pro.
Oh wow.
So now, so yes, it can. So I find that so Apple is pretty fibbing on their website because they say that the 13-inch 2010 MacBook Pro can only go up to 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, I've actually saw that firsthand with some older like 2006 MacBook Pros. As I think you saw my tweet that I made a few months back. Um, I had a 2006 in 2020, very late 2020, like late December, and it actually ended up working just perfectly fine with like 4 gigabytes of RAM, I think.
Yeah, I didn't. I probably didn't actually see that tweet because I didn't start following you until March 2021, so
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I think you replied to one of my tweets a few nights ago.
Yeah, yeah, but that's on your new Twitter account.
Yeah, my old Twitter's long gone.
Yeah,
I've archived everything from that.
yeah. Let's actually talk about some of the next things coming up in the iPhone 14
All right.
after water. So, guess what the charging port the iPhone 14 will have?
Either USB-C or none.
Lightning.
Ah, man.
Yep. Oh well.
Well, I mean, technically it's not a downgrade from what we have now.
Yeah, that's true. It might come with faster speeds than in the 13 Lightning.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
My main thing getting footage off of USB drives because it is so hard to figure out how to get footage from my iPhone to my Mac that I've ended up just putting it on Google Drive now.
Yeah. Yeah, again, USB flash drives, even the ones with lightning ports, aren't exactly good for your phone.
Yeah, I've thought about buying one. I went to Walmart, then they said that I had to pay up at the electronics desk, and I was just like, okay, that's stupid, and I just never ended up buying it.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking, so I don't think that even if Apple did bring USB-C to the iPhone, they probably wouldn't allow flash drives or anything.
Due to well, they do on the iPad, which is why I kind of think they would on a Pro iPhone.
Yeah, but again, they might want to try to get you to buy an iPad also.
Yeah,
So you have to consider so you have to consider the business perspective.
yeah.
But in other news, there are now printed CADs of the iPhone 14, which I'm sure you guys are all aware of.
Is it the ones with the new camera looking thing with the kind of um Galaxy S22 looking camera?
Nope, these are. If you watch either iUpdate or Front Page Tech, you'll know what CADs I'm talking about.
I don't like front page tech, and I haven't watched iUpdate in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand why you might not like them.
Yeah, he's goofy in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I like, but again, not everybody likes goofy stuff.
Yeah, some of the stuff that he does just kind of like confuses me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think iUpdate is overall the funniest rumors YouTuber.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But yeah, so on the iPhone 14, I think this will only be the Pro and the Ultra, but there will be autofocus on the front camera now.
I didn't even know that was a feature. I didn't even know that didn't already exist.
I did not either, but that'll come in handy for many people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And the iPhone 14 will also be more rounded.
Well, that's nice. It's really good.
And we can't forget about cinematic mode to be on all iPhone 14 models.
Yeah, it's an underrated feature, but at the same time, an overrated feature.
Yeah, I personally think that cinematic mode is overrated just because how useful is it in the real
Yeah,
world?
since my friend has a channel where he's like a vlogger, and he gets me to record a lot of his videos, and he like cinematic mode just does not focus correctly. And in post processing, you can change it, but it barely ever works correctly.
Yeah, they'll probably fix cinematic mode for the iPhone 14.
Yeah, and it's all software based too.
They should bring it on all iPhones then,
Mm-hmm.
for that matter, along with iPhone 10 like features and gestures on the older iPhones.
I get why they don't do that, since it would kind of confuse a lot of people. Since if you swiped up for the control center, it would kind of confuse a lot of people why they changed it. Since on the iPad, since it's not really a one-handed device, they could have moved it up a lot easier since there's a lot more space.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. But again, that would be handy for people who are still using. But again, that'd be more handy for people who are still using an iPhone 7 or an 8 or something.
Yeah,
So that way, no one would have to jailbreak their old phone if they wanted to get those things.
yeah, I get that.
Or else just even bring slide to unlock back.
Yeah, I remember when iOS 10 came out, I was trying to figure out how to get it back because my mom didn't know about Home to Unlock.
Yeah,
And it was
that's
such a learning curve for a lot of people.
I did. I didn't understand why Apple did it at first, especially because I didn't have any Touch ID devices at that time.
Yeah.
So I just thought that Apple was being mean.
Yeah, for a while I actually thought that it was because they wanted to wear out home buttons faster, which doesn't really make sense why they would, but
I guess they probably wanted you to get an excuse to buy a new phone.
yeah, in
Or,
a way.
or they could have been doing it to try to foreshadow iPhone 10 sales also.
Yeah, that would be pretty good because the iPhone 10 was actually very nice.
Yeah. Again, a lot of people have reported very quickly degrading batteries on the iPhone 10.
Yeah, the 10, well, the 10s more so, but the 10, probably because it's a bit older.
Yeah.
And the 10R too, kinda a bit.
Yeah. So now guess what I have. So now we have officially gotten the colors for the iPhone 14 lineup.
All right, let's hear them.
The 14 and 14 Max will come in product red, blue, purple, midnight, and starlight. No pink and no green.
All right.
Which would really disappoint my great grandmother if she was still alive, because she really loved pink.
Yeah.
And the iPhone 14 Pro and the 14 Ultra are gonna come in graphite, silver, and gold and purple.
So pretty much the same garbage that we have right now, but with purple.
Yep. And
I
there will be no
really
blue.
wish they would get rid of graphite and just make it black.
I want a pure blue. I want
I
Pro
want
iPhone.
midnight black, just like absolute like midnight matte black, or like something like slate black.
I want a really deep black. I want a really deep black and a really deep white too.
Yeah.
And it's not just that, but I also want a deep. But I'm also would not mind having a deep. But I would not mind having a. I personally think that Apple should reserve colors for the Pro models to get people to pay more.
Yeah.
And that's really a shame because I was considering upgrading to the iPhone 14 Pro. Yet, if it's not going to be in my favorite color, which is blue, then that's going to be a huge disappointment.
Yeah. Personally, I think Sierra Blue is the nicest blue that they've done. Um, but I did not like Pacific Blue. Honestly, it
I
didn't fit right with me.
Pacific.
Like that color looked really nice in photos, but I got the phone and I was just like, this is so dark, but it like has no character to it. It's just dark for no reason, really.
I personally hate the Pacific Blue too, but I also don't really like the Sierra Blue either
Yeah, I can see why.
because as John Prosser on Front Page Tech made a joke about how come it looked like Apple ran out of printer ink for the iPhone 13 Pro's blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also and it's kind of irritating me in a way too because remember back when the iPad Mini 6 came out and its only true vibrant colors were pink and purple,
Yeah.
and now if the only vibrant colors on the 14 Pro and 14 Ultra, keep in mind far bigger deals, then that's going to be a real shame to boys and men because they're not going to necessarily want pink and purple devices.
Yeah, and like
It,
my mom said a few days ago, my mom told my friend Elias or Meow Tech, you know, gender neutral colors just don't really make sense because what if a woman or a man just wants either like an actual gender defined color, I guess, because a lot of the population does not like this gender neutral stuff. Like a
I
lot of the population doesn't think that it's, worth anything. And
yeah.
a lot of people, I understand that a lot of people say, what about, all these like non-binary and stuff like that. But like that's only that's only part of a population.
Yeah,
And
true.
those people could just pick any color. And technically, you know, what about if they had a dark purple? That would, there should be like two gender neutral colors and like two man colors, two woman colors.
Yeah, exactly, that because I feel that if Apple actually did that, that again would kind of irritate. That again would get bad reviews because the problem is that not really a problem, but most tech reviewers are men, and if there's no manly colors, then that'll help give it bad review.
The iPhone XS and the 10 and the 11 Pro, because silver on the 10s and 10s's and 11s and 12s and all the silver colors really don't have, anyone can use them. And same with the gold in a way, because I used gold for multiple phones.
Yeah.
I love.
And I've had a gold iPhone ever since my 5S.
Yeah, I love the gold phones.
I do like gold too, but I personally think that Apple should make just a standard iPhone 13 like blue for the 14 Pro.
Yeah.
That's the best blue iPhone in my opinion.
Yeah, I really do like that color, even though personally I think I like the red a bit more, but the blue is definitely nice too.
I do like or else make a product red iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Ultra. That's what I want to see.
I would definitely buy a matte red device. That would look really cool.
And plus, you'd also be benefiting a charity when you do that too, because all red Apple products donate to a charity called Red, which helps to fight AIDS.
Yeah.
So I still don't understand why Apple doesn't bring red to the Pro iPhone, since red is also another gender neutral color.
Yeah, especially, right now, a lot of the darker reds do make sense for either gender.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, you know what color? So this would be my dream iPhone color lineup for the Pros.
All right.
Product red, orange, green, a green like in the iPhone 13 Pro, blue like in the standard iPhone 13, just a hardcore white like the iPhone 4 and 4S had, and a deep black.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Since I've been to buy a black iPhone.
Yeah, because I really like the black. In fact, if I go to my collection shelf right here, I do really like this black iPhone 4 right here.
Yeah, I like the black iPhone 4 and 5.
And I also like the black iPhone 5 too, which I can show right here. It's not as nice as on the 4, but it's still pretty nice.
Yeah.
And if we go a little bit, and the black on the 3G and 3GSs, the colors on those phones are pretty nice too.
Yeah, they just scratch too easily due to the plastic.
Yes, like look at how like if you're on the video version, look at how badly scratched this 3GS is.
Yeah, and if you put it in a case, then it'll get case marks.
Yeah, and this is in comparison to my black 4. So, for all the video viewers, you can tell just how much less scratched the 4 is. And if we take a look at the comparison, this right here is my iPhone 3G, which has always been in the case because this is not definitely this is pretty scratched up, but still near mint condition at the same time. So now we stop adventuring into my tech collection. let's get back
Yeah,
on
I know
focus.
people do want to see a whole iPhone and iPod iOS or Apple device collection from you.
Yeah, because
Is that something that could happen in the future?
yes, I'm probably gonna wait. In fact, I've considered doing that before, but I'm probably going to wait until the. I'm probably going to wait until the summer to do it.
All right.
And I just realized my shirt is inside out.
Ah,
That's great. Oh well.
yeah.
So now let's move on to the next rumor, which is that the Pro Display XR2 will have a 7K resolution with a 12 megapixel webcam.
Mm. So they're pretty much gonna probably put like an iPhone 13 in this, since there's, I guess, an iPhone 11 in the studio display.
I would assume that because the Pro Display XDR2 will cost so much more, I'm guessing they might even put the A16 chip or even the M1 chip if they want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it all depends on when the device comes out.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny to have a compute. It'd be pretty funny to have an M1 at the same chip power a computer and a monitor at the same time.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that actually wouldn't be bad, but
Yeah, it would be pretty good for, calibration and all.
so you know the eye hole that the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Ultra are going to have this year.
Yeah.
Well, next year if the iPhone 15, but the regular 14 and 14 Max are still going to keep the notch.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But all the iPhone 15 models are going to have the eye hole.
Yeah, it makes sense why.
And then if the iPhone 16 models, they're going to have. This will probably be reserved for the pros at first, but they're going to have a complete cutout removal.
It's nice.
And Apple's folding iPhone will be delayed until at least 2025.
Personally, I think that's good because I don't want a folding iPhone.
Yeah, I don't get the appeal of a lot of the future stuff that tech companies are pushing towards.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's cool technology, and I was actually thinking about buying a Z Flip a while back, but it just doesn't really make sense. Like, what would that really be usable for, other than just being cool?
Well, for the ones that are designed to fold out into tablet-sized phones, I can see that.
Yeah, that's obvious, but like, especially with like the durability downsides.
Yeah, and with the Z Flip, I can also understand the purpose. That way, it'll be more pocketable, but it'll still be thicker.
Yeah.
So that'll make no sense. So that's not going to be that great. It'll be like having an iPhone 3GS in your pocket, or 3G or a
Yeah.
2G.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but another. So this is actually not a planned topic, but what do you think about the rumored Apple VR/AR headset?
I don't
Did,
really. I think it's gonna mess up the ecosystem a lot, and I think that if they release something like that, um, it will definitely hurt the entire ecosystem majorly, and it will really harm Apple's future.
yeah, because I just don't see the future of VR
Yeah,
because it's
like,
not more portable, so
yeah, the only thing it really does is make it so you can focus more on your surroundings while using it, from what I can tell.
yeah, and I can see where it would come in handy for doing things like gaming,
Yeah.
but Apple isn't very well known for gaming, so I can't imagine that Apple would succeed in that regard.
Yeah, I don't think that Apple really cares about gaming.
But again, Oculus Meta isn't really too big on gaming either, and yet they're creating Yet they're creating their Oculus headsets, which are supposed to be designed for gaming, but are now being designed for the metaverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I definitely think the metaverse will fail, and I've done a whole video about that.
Yeah, it's guaranteed to fail pretty much at this point because nobody's gonna pay for, pretty much digital garbage.
The metaverse is going to be paid?
Well, for NFTs and stuff.
Oh, yeah. NFTs are the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Just screenshot it and steal it. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, you can very easily screenshot it and steal it. And while sure, NFTs may come in handy for some games.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pay for any fake art.
Yeah, like why would you pay for that I could see a use for, but at the same time, why don't you just pay for in-game? Why don't you just pay for the game itself?
Yeah.
And it's not only that too, but I've never done a video on NFTs, but people are thinking that NFTs are a next big future.
It's not really going to be because you can just steal them easily.
Yeah. And how are they worth anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's similar to those figurines that you see that are supposedly collectibles. They're just cheap pieces of plastic.
Yeah, NFTs are just pixels on a screen.
Yeah, so why?
Yeah.
I don't get the appeal. I don't get the appeal of NFTs.
Yeah, I don't either.
But at the same time, I'm not an NFT whiz.
Yeah, same. I'm probably not gonna buy any.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of the metaverse, so I do find their 50% cut to be pretty funny.
Yeah, that's pretty hypocritical since they were mad at Apple for taking a 30% cut.
Or it's actually a 47.5% cut, but still.
Yeah.
But the app but the but the but what Walmart is doing is they're planning on creating a virtual store to buy NFTs.
Wow.
That's like their real in-person store.
Yeah, that's gonna fail.
And that's really going to hurt Walmart as a company.
Yeah, it will. Absolutely.
Because does Walmart think we act... I mean, sometimes I do enjoy shopping at Walmart, but how many people enjoy shopping at Walmart?
Tech section, but it's not really a place that people go because it's high class. It's what's around.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents shop there just because it's one of the cheapest places around.
Yeah.
And I do yeah. Well, do you remember Walmart's Scan and Go feature?
I think so. When was that?
That was in late 2017, early 2018.
I think so.
Yeah, I still find that unfair how they got rid of that.
Yeah, they get rid of all these tech companies tend to get rid of everything that's actually cool.
Yes, because the Scan and Go feature was actually useful. Walmart did remove it because people were stealing it, were forgetting to scan stuff and stealing with it. But I found it useful because I could just grab my phone or one of the scanners, and then it was my dad's phone because I had an iPod Touch back then, and we would just start scanning all our items as we went, and then we just went up to the little thing and we scan and go area where we would scan all the items, check them out, and then we just have to bag the groceries. Or you wouldn't even have to worry about bagging them if you really didn't want to, because you could just take the shopping cart out to the car and put all the stuff in the car. Yeah, so that's one thing I do wish that Walmart did actually keep around. But their solution to that was they now actually check. check your receipts before you leave the store.
Yeah, just like Costco does.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's even funnier is that they own Sam's Club, which is kind of a competitor to Walmart.
Yeah.
So similar to how Verizon owns Visible, which is and they're literally competing against each other.
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram owned by the same company. T-Mobile owns Sprint and Metro. Just all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's not the only. So that's per. And so, but this is not a podcast where we talk about monopolies. This is a podcast where we talk about technology.
What do you think about Elon Musk buying Twitter?
That wasn't actually a planned topic, but I'll include this. So, at the same time, so this is gonna sound pretty political, but I do think that might help Twitter if he's really, because Twitter has actually gotten a lot more political ever since its original founder, Jack Dorsey, left back in September.
Yeah, there's two ways that Elon can take it. He can either ban anyone who crap talks Tesla, or he can give it actual freedom of speech since, I feel like Elon Musk would unban a lot of people who've been banned. I think that everybody knows who I'm talking about when I say that, but it would be funny to see what happens when Elon gets in charge of Twitter.
Yeah, that, yeah, that'll be interesting too, and That's one of the main reasons why I actually joined Twitter again, because I deactivated my account, but then I decided to join back.
Yeah, I don't really like the platform in its current state at all.
Yeah, because its articles too were definite.
Everyone acts like your opinion sucks. It's political. You'll get blamed for stuff you never did.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And the articles currently on Twitter are very suspicious too, because they're definitely trying to sway people politically in a certain way.
Exactly, and I just don't want to see any of their political stuff. I go there for tech, and I get swarmed with all this weird stuff.
Yeah, and it's not just
users.
and it's not that only that either, but it's the but what am I trying to talk about here? Come on, Ted. You're an English. You need to be act like an English major on this podcast.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not only that, but I actually but their latest articles have been saying fact checkers say at the end of the article, at the end of the headlines. And if you know anything about fact checkers say, don't you think it's a little bit suspicious?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're also and there's little. I'm actually gonna go see if this is still on Twitter, but one of the headline one of the headlines of Twitter right now, yes, or it's not actually a headline right now, but it was quite a while ago, was climate change is ruining this whole planet. And even if you do know about climate change, they're still making the headline seem like it's new to us, even though it isn't.
Yeah, it's all, everything that Twitter and mostly all these, quote, big tech companies say is, really heavily biased towards the left spectrum of politics. And, it's like they can't just stay out of this stuff for whatever reason.
Yes.
So I don't know why they don't just either, give us an option to see left or right, news, or just give us an option to stay out of it.
Yes, exactly. that's exactly the point. And Google in particular is bad with this, which is why they're my least favorite tech giant.
Yeah, Google, Apple, and Twitter, I think, are the top three.
Meta does that. Meta does that.
Yeah,
DuckDuckGo
at
does
least they
that.
do it to some extent.
Yeah. So that they definitely. But again, it kind of makes sense because they're all headquartered in the same area.
Yeah.
So they're all most of these tech giants are headquartered in California, which means generally in certain states in each state there's going to be one major party.
Yeah, and in California, that's heavily Democratic, I think, like
Yeah.
Democratic liberal.
Yeah. Let's stop talking about that and let's talk about
Yeah,
what the
that
iPhone
a lot
16
of
will
people mad.
bring.
Yeah, that'll make a lot of people mad.
So, the iPhone 6 and we apologize if we made anybody mad.
Yeah, you might want to put a disclaimer in the description saying, you know, light politic talk from timestamp to end of timestamp.
Yeah, I or I would I probably wouldn't put the I might warn that, but the iPhone 16 or else if anybody comments then I'll just block them.
Yeah,
That that's usually my policy, but so
yeah,
now with the iPhone 16 no there will be no cut notch and no cutout.
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, the notch, in my opinion, right now is worse than it used to be because it does go a bit deeper into your content and it doesn't give you any extra real screen real estate.
Yeah. Yeah, that yeah, that yeah, and then we have and so yeah, I'm assuming that'll only be for a 16 Pro and 16 Ultra.
Yeah.
I can hear your computer's fan going.
Oh yeah, that's my crypto mining PC in the back.
What is crypto mining, by the way? I don't really
It's
understand.
pretty much where you use GPU. It's pretty much where you use like a graphics card um to mine like cryptocurrencies. And I had a spare graphics card laying around, so I just decided to make that into a mining rig. Um and it doesn't get a lot of money, usually like $1 per day, but it's still good since I can use that to buy some phone cases.
Yeah, that
Since I am trying to become more of a case reviewer as well as a phone reviewer or a tech reviewer.
yeah, I don't really review cases
Yeah,
just because I don't find cases to be interesting and I prefer my tech content to be at least interesting.
yeah,
And so I think we already talked about the iPhone 16 notch and cutout removal
yeah, we
before we
did.
mentioned it again. I apologize about that too. I forget about what I talk about, but
Yeah,
I have a little note to say thing.
yeah,
And so at one of the Apple stores in New York City, the workers are unionizing for some
really.
reason. So yeah, what is going on?
Huh?
I heard your voice all of a sudden talk. I heard you start talking very, very fast. Like the microphone was acting up.
Oh, that might have been FaceTime.
That That might have been. But
Yeah.
in more exciting news, the new Mac Pro is going to be smaller.
Oh, that's good. That'll be really good for traveling.
Yeah, even though I can't imagine how many people will be transporting their Mac Pro places.
Yeah.
That'll still be good to cut down on shipping costs. And and hey, maybe they'll offer more room on the shipping ships for Apple to finally start bringing back power bricks into iPhone boxes.
Yeah. That would definitely be good if they got us a 30-watt adapter, since right now it takes 2 hours to charge the 13 Pro Max, and that's just way too long since I tend to drain mine around 9 p.m. and I go into a call usually from like midnight, and it's hard for me since I charge my phone from 1 to 100 consistently.
Yeah, that isn't actually that good for your phone's battery. It's better for your phone's battery to go from
Yeah, that's
20
the
to
experiment. Me
80.
and friends are doing the experiment to see whose battery degrades faster. If he charges his from like 40 to 80, and I charge mine from 0 to 100.
Yeah. Yeah, so I generally tend to I try to keep my devices in the 20 to 80 cycle. And your mic and you did that and I heard that squeaking again.
Yeah, my bad. My phone fell down.
Yeah, that makes sense. But so yeah, and the Apple headset that will fail is to be announced in late 2022 and arrive in early 2023.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Even if it's gonna fail, wonder what it'll charge by.
I'm curious about that too. I'm curious how much it'll cost also.
Mm-hmm.
But what? Why does it keep doing that?
What does it sound like?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, wah is what it sounds like, except squeaky.
It's weird.
Yeah, again, FaceTime hasn't been the most reliable for us, so
Yeah.
bear with us. This is issues like this is why we're waiting to have guests on until May.
Yeah. Hopefully all the issues will be fixed.
Yeah. And so, in other news, so in kind of other, so it did that again. This time it was louder and longer.
It was louder.
Yep.
Oh man.
So, well, so speaking of Apple's VR/AR headset, so dang it, I forgot what I was gonna say
Uh,
about it.
you were wondering how much it would cost.
Yeah, I knew that, but there was something else I was gonna say about how it would impact the future or something, and I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
What is going on? It did that again.
What does it sound like?
Yeah, it's it sounds like
It looks like your Wi-Fi name or password has changed. To update your Wi-Fi information, go to the Alexa app.
What's with that?
I think it might actually be my Wi-Fi that suddenly changed,
Oh.
but it's still going, so I'm just going to keep on this call. Yeah, so meanwhile,
Your Wi-Fi might be geeking out right now.
I'm gonna open my door actually.
Alright.
So I'm gonna open my door just a crack to help fix the issues. Okay, I fixed the Wi-Fi. I opened my door slightly, so my Wi-Fi shouldn't be geeking out anymore.
Well, that's good.
So if you hear any background noises, that is what I try to cover up with the door being closed.
Yeah, hopefully your Wi-Fi doesn't geek out.
Yeah. So Apple, so you know Apple's battery pack?
Yeah, the MagSafe battery pack.
They finally increased it from 5 watts to 7.5, 7.5 watts with software updates.
Well, that's good.
Oh, and Beatrice just joined the podcast, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Hi, Beezus. I call her B. Have you ever read the books with Beezus in them?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it would have probably been quite a while if you have. But yeah. Yeah, Beezus is her nickname, or Beezy is another one of her nicknames, but Beatrice is her full name.
Nice.
And Filbert is also in the background of my podcast.
Who?
Filbert.
Is that a new one?
No, he is Hazy's brother.
Oh, nice.
In fact, if you go way back on my Instagram, you can actually see a photo of him. He doesn't come into my room very often, which is why you don't see him.
Yeah.
But so remember back when Apple axed the original HomePod last year?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, first generation HomePods are now appreciating in value.
That's good, because my dad has one.
Yep. And in other words, and so we're all done with Apple news, and now we need to move on to Google news.
Alright.
So Google search now shows the air quality.
That's good.
And this is going to sound very familiar to you. So, someone left a prototype Pixel watch without a band or anything inside a restaurant.
Pretty much the iPhone 4 story.
Yep. And knowing how Google likes to leak their products, do you think that I think that Google did that for hype?
Yeah, depends on the location though. If it was in like Silicon Valley area, then yeah.
It was. And besides, it didn't have a band or anything, so it was clearly a prototype. So it was clearly left on purpose.
Yeah.
Google definitely knows about the iPhone 4 story.
Yeah, everyone does.
Because, for the average Joe who is viewing this podcast, back in April of 2010, back in March 2010 actually, a guy who worked for Apple had a prototype iPhone 4 that was disguised to look like an iPhone 3GS. Unlike the Pixel watch, which wasn't disguised like anything. And he went out to a bar to celebrate his birthday, but he may have had a little too much to drink and accidentally left his prototype 4 in there.
Yeah, he got messed up for that.
I'm sure he got fired as a result of that too. And so then another guy decides to go ahead and pick up the prototype iPhone 4, and he originally just thought that was a normal 3GS until the next morning when he realized that there was a front camera that was no longer turning on. So a bit of tussling on the 3GS disguise, he was able to get it off and found out that it was a whole new generation of iPhone. And he tried contacting Apple, but they didn't believe him. So
He sold it.
to a rumors website, and it was then everybody got to know what the iPhone 4 was.
Yeah.
But when Steve Jobs actually was in the iPhone 4 launch event, he actually stated he was presenting it. It's a great design that nobody ain't ever seen before, as a joke
Yeah.
and because people had seen it before.
Yeah, everyone's seen that at that point since it was making news.
Yeah, and of course, tech enthusiasts would be the most likely to have been at the event.
Yeah.
But which is why later on, because I have an iPhone 4 running a prototype build of iOS 5 that I downgraded it to, which if I boot it up, hang on iPhone, do you want to boot up now or not? Hang on, let's see if this phone is dead or not. And by that I mean the battery, the actual phone works.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not booting.
So it needs charged.
Probably. No, it is booting.
What iOS is it on?
It's on a prototype build of iOS 5.
Oh wow.
But as I'm I'll make a downgrade tutorial once I get enough likes on my video about how to actually do it.
Yeah, one thing I will say is it switchboard?
Nope, it is something. Nope, you'll see. If you were on a video call right now, you would actually get to see it, but it just looks like regular iOS with a few odd quirks about it. I actually made a video about this. But as you can tell right here, they add a prototype number. And by the way, in case you see that, those are not my voicemails. That's just from the old SIM card that I put in here. But yeah, that's why Apple probably added a prototype number. So that way if anybody found a prototype iPhone, they could call a prototype number to retrieve it.
Yeah.
So now there is some streaming news. So Netflix and Disney Plus are thinking about adding ad-supported plans.
That would be pretty cool for those who don't really need to save that much time.
But Netflix has reported a decrease of 200,000 subscribers instead of a 2.5 million expected new subscribers.
Yeah, Netflix is going the route Facebook with their growth.
Yep, which is none in case you're wondering. Because I've said it before and I've stated it again. If you get so many streaming services together trying to fight for their own content, that drives the cost up, making the whole TV industry just die out completely.
Yeah, and I personally don't think that Netflix is gonna do anything about it. I think they're just gonna keep on charging whatever they are now.
$10 a month for their base plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that the whole entire TV industry, as a result of this, and probably the movie industry too, it'll all completely die out because of this.
Yeah, it'll definitely take a hit.
Yeah, it'll probably be 10 years before we officially. It'll probably be 10 years before we officially see everything shut down.
Yeah, if it does end up shutting down.
Yeah.
Which I doubt that Netflix is going to shut down because for everyone who's not subscribing and unsubscribing, there's also people who just would never stop paying for it because they just love the content that they get with it.
Yeah, true. But that number, of course, will decrease as online content, as social media becomes more popular.
Yeah. And also piracy is becoming a bit more popular nowadays.
I haven't seen that much piracy going on.
Yeah.
But again, I prefer to live within the law, so.
Yeah, I don't like to pirate any movies or anything. You know, for what it is, it's not worth getting arrested over an hour content.
Yeah. And so I think that the ad support, and if they're adding ad supported plans, which are going to be very, very costly, then this means that overall, then this is going to make people just as irritated with the ads on network television with streaming, which will make everybody cancel streaming.
Yeah, since I do have a Hulu ad-supported plan, and it's pretty cheap. It's about $7 a month, I think.
Eight, it rose to eight.
Yeah, it works perfectly for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately, we're gonna see. So it'll be crazy to see what the whole world. It'll be crazy to see what the whole world will be like with the TV and movie industry completely dead.
Yeah.
But it's happening.
Yeah, slowly. Especially now that cable is being cut by a lot more households.
Yeah, my grandma's the only one of the few people I know who still pays for cable.
Cable, home phone, all.
Yeah, and even then, my grandmother doesn't want to switch to streaming because there's too many streaming services out there that are all so expensive.
Yeah, it's like you got all different services to get what you want.
Yes, like Howard's. Yeah, so they're just making people because. And when in reality, you can just produce content in your bedroom.
Yeah.
I actually did a whole video a few months ago about the death of Hollywood.
Yeah, I watched that.
So if you guys want to go see that, you can check out my main channel where that and go a few months back where I explain.
Yeah.
But there's a two, but there's a three. But guess what Netflix has now decided to add?
What is it?
A $3 per month fee if you want to share passwords with anybody outside your house.
Yeah, that's where, yeah, that whole thing is just messed up. And I see a lot of people using VPNs to get over that.
Yeah, so if people are going to be using VPNs, then how is Netflix going to be able to get around that?
Yeah, it's stupid. I
Is
have no idea why people would pay $3 extra for that.
when they can use a VPN, which they supposedly think gives them a higher sense of security.
Yeah, all these VPN ads make no sense because even if, by theory, you buy a VPN, your info is protected either way if you're using an HTTPS site, which is most sites nowadays. Plus, VPNs don't really do as much as people act like they do, since a lot of VPNs will log a lot of user info.
Yes, and it's not.
Some VPNs are even government VPNs, which will indefinitely log your info.
Yeah, and that's kind of. Yeah, my mom works for several online universities, and one of them is SNHU, or Southern New Hampshire University, and she now has to have use two-factor authentication.
Yeah, which probably does more than a VPN be
But
honest.
two-factor authentication is actually less secure because hackers can find a way around it.
Yeah.
So, in other streaming news, so remember back when CNN Plus was introduced?
No. What's that?
So CNN Plus was introduced about a month ago as a streaming service where you guess it, you get to pay for CNN News, except it was a very confusing app, and it costs $3 per month
Yeah.
to pay for news.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It's also annoying how a lot of news sites are paywalled nowadays.
Or what?
Paywalled.
Oh yeah.
Who actually is going to pay for one stupid site just to read an article?
Yeah.
I know no one who does that.
Yeah. Yes.
And you want to know what scam has been going around Facebook Marketplace lately?
What is it?
Tech mystery box scams.
Oh, that's stupid.
They cost between $5 to $25 usually, but the idea is that they
will always get garbage out of it.
yeah, because the idea is that they'll make it seem like in the photos that you'll get returns for things like iPads, iPhones, MacBooks,
Yeah.
etc. And yet in reality, you'll just get a bunch of cheap stuff that is definitely not made in China.
A bunch of garbage that nobody wants. Pretty much just like what everybody throws out.
Yeah. And by the way, I was being sarcastic about made in China.
Yeah, everything from those boxes would be.
Yeah. And these are actually a couple of questions that I plan on asking my guests on the podcast, but I haven't asked my co-host yet.
Alright.
So, how did you get interested in technology and specifically Apple?
Years ago, probably 13 years ago, I was just obsessed with vacuums back when I was really little. And it was just like, whenever I got onto YouTube, whenever YouTube was kind of surging, there was all these Roomba videos. You know what Roombas are, right?
Yep.
I would watch those, and eventually I would like to play with like the phones and stuff. So I had this like big box of old phones, and I would just play with them. Like they didn't even turn on. I just liked the design of it. So then whenever I saw the iPhones, I thought they were so cool. And I actually ended up opening up one of my sister's old laptops and apparently fixing it when I was probably 3 or 4. And then whenever the iPhone 5 came out, I was just really obsessed with that kind of stuff. And eventually I got an iPad mini and it was all I used. Like the iPad 2 I got, the iPad mini I got, those were really the only devices that I used, and I would use those devices every day. And then as I grew up, it was like around when I was like 8 or 9, the iPhone 6 came out, and I was just really obsessed with that design. Same with the Apple Watch. And then when I ended up being able to get that kind of stuff, like when I ended up getting an iPhone 7 Plus in April 2017, it was like after that I started my current tech channel. And when I was able to actually buy a lot more stuff in 2018, I would end up buying a lot more tech stuff. Then in 2021, I was able to sell a lot of stuff on eBay, pretty much flip stuff on eBay. And I ended up buying, using all my money into buying new tech stuff. Like, I would buy multiple iPhones. I would buy older devices. I would buy Samsungs, all these devices, my MacBook Pro. And it just, the concept of the designs and the OS and all the, actual technology in there is just insane to me. Plus, it's one of the only things that you can get into that is like constantly evolving. It is such a fast, there's at least going to be one iPhone a year. You know.
Yes, like the yes, like do you actually know the story of how I got interested in technology or not?
No, I've never heard that.
So my mom got an iPad back in back right after Christmas of 2010,
Yeah.
and sometime in early 2011, I stole it from her, and she let me keep it.
Wow.
And after that, I just got really interested into Apple tech, and and I've never actually used Android as a daily OS.
Yeah, I've used pretty much every OS. I even used a Windows Phone in 2019.
Yeah, I yeah I've been so I've you so after that I just kind so after that my iPad one led to and the I did get interested in Windows with my Windows 7 desktop that you see in a lot of my videos, because that is just some cheap computer that I got at like a from eBay or something. My mom got that in very early 2012 for the family, and that eventually became just my computer as my family stopped using it in early 2015 just because they had better laptops at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how.
Yeah. I got into Apple really around it was probably around when I realized that Apple was just kind of the default best because they always had the most streamlined technology, and it wasn't like Samsung where like they would always have some sort of an upgrade. And a lot of the time whenever I saw like Androids and Windows devices, they would just look bad. Uh, they would just look cheap. And whenever I saw, my parents' Apple products like the MacBook polycarbonate, I would just love to just use them. The designs felt so good.
Yeah, and how did you actually get interested in doing YouTube?
Oh, years ago, I was watching those Roomba videos. Then I ended up watching a lot of smashing videos. So I went around. I watched Tech Racks and Gizmo Slip. So I went around smashing everything in my house one day, and I ended up buying an iPod on eBay, an old like iPod that was water damaged to drop test, and I recorded it and made like a Tech Rex style video, and then I ended up getting my own Gmail. So I started making random videos. Then some dude ended up dislike bombing me on that channel, so I had to make a new channel, which I did for gaming. Um, Same thing happened, got dislike bombed, deleted that channel. Then in 2017, um, I actually had two channels at once. I had my current channel and my old gaming channel, which I turned into a tech channel. Um, and I ended up trying to go back to my other channel since it had over 100 subscribers, but the channel that I have right now always stuck with me because it had the best community. Because someone who actually stopped making YouTube videos about 2 years ago, Connected Tech Talks. I doubt that anyone's ever really heard of him since he was part of like the original community that I was in with a couple other people, and he ended up making a lot of videos. And me and him ended up becoming really good friends throughout 2018 and 2019, and it was the community behind it that I really loved because it wasn't like the previous gaming communities that I was in where it was just like a bunch of little kids. It was actually mature people. And then Twitter and Instagram communities just actually gave a really nice welcome. And then Target bin or like recycling bin channels ended up welcoming me. So I was in two communities at once, the tech community and the bin community. So I ended up just really having this channel as my main channel, and this channel that I've had since 2017, I never really had someone go and dislike bomb my videos with 20, 30, 50 accounts like what happened on my previous channels. And of course, nowadays that wouldn't be that big of an issue, but it was always just like the channel that had the best community. And I've always been into YouTube, and I've always wanted to do YouTube.
You wouldn't happen to have your first channel anymore by chance?
I actually do, and everything on there is private. I have the unboxing. I have a iPod destruction video. I have my iPhone 5C unboxing video. I have a ton of videos on there that I just haven't gone through in a few years because I still have to reset the password. But I have the I can do that. I can actually reset the password whenever I want to. I just haven't had the chance to.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm sure you probably know how I got into YouTube.
How's that?
So, you can actually unlike previously, my main channel was also my first channel. So I'm a bit funny enough. So I'm sure as you know, when I originally started doing YouTube back in 2016, I did videos of me reading Berenstain Bears books for some reason instead of tech videos, which I wasn't interested in tech videos, but I was interested in tech itself back then.
Yeah.
So I start off that in 2016, and after I had gone through all my Berenstain Bears books, I was like, what do I do next? So I just stopped uploading on YouTube and I came back, and I tried coming back previously in mid 2018 to do tech videos, but I just failed to do that. But in December of 2018, I successfully came back to YouTube and started doing tech videos, and I had an uploading consistency until late 2019 when my uploading consistency fell apart.
Yeah.
So in summer of 2020, I decided to start uploading consistently to YouTube again because the reason why I stopped in late 2019 uploading consistently was because I wanted to make better videos, but it was hard to sit down and actually do it because I had to borrow my mom's iPhone 8 Plus in order to record because, well, now my iPhone 8 Plus. So, in other words, this exact phone. But I had to borrow that to make my videos since my 5S at the time, which is actually... Let me go through, rummage through my collection. This phone right here, that was only 16 gigabytes, so it was good enough for just doing a few things, but it wasn't good enough to actually record YouTube videos with. So by the summer of 2020, hang on, I've got to put everything up. Or no, actually. So by the summer of 2020, I had my iPhone 8 Plus, which made doing YouTube a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I also had a bigger device collection at that point, so it was easier for me to do more videos on more devices.
Yeah, what I failed to mention, actually, I forgot, but I did actually stop uploading for most of 2019. I only had about 5 videos up in 2019 compared to probably like 60 to 100 videos in 2018, because that whole year for me was just horrible. I had no real inspiration to even upload anything on that year.
Yeah, you've actually gone into that before, which I can't understand.
Yeah.
So I can't understand struggling, having not a lot of motivation because whilst I really did want to make YouTube videos back then, back when I was uploading consistently, I just didn't know how I could make my videos better.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, I upload very consistently.
Yeah.
And now I've built up, and then I rebranded my. In 2019, I rebranded my channel to the iTunes Fanboy, and just recently I rebranded to iApple Tree.
Yeah, I've rebranded my channel a few times. First, I think it started off as Polly's videos. Then it was like Polly the Goof or some weird stuff. Then it was, what was it? It was like 7502 for the end of 2017. And up until like November 2018 when I made it just Polly, then I changed it to Tabby, then Tabby Pairs, and that's where it is now.
Yeah. Is Paul your real name?
No, that's my dad's dog's name actually.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I really liked that name because it kind of worked everywhere, and it was really like it was also good for privacy since nobody would go and try to mess with me.
Yeah. Whereas my name isn't that common. My
Yeah,
real name.
yeah, like only a few people know my actual name, and I try to keep it off the internet because I have had stuff in the past where people have went and messed with me with that. Like some troll decided to text my parents trying to tell them that I'm doing illegal stuff or something a few years back. It was like I'm not the kind of guy to just go, whatever this guy thought I was doing. I don't even know what this guy's motive was. But I ended up doing the same to him when I actually used actual points. I found his mom's Instagram, and I pretty much said, your kid's trying to torture me, and he hasn't messed with me since.
Yeah. I imagine there was some punishment involved with that.
Yeah, luckily my parents didn't believe him because they knew that I wasn't doing whatever this guy thought I was.
Yes. Yes, I actually got some and remember when I got that spam FaceTime call and that spam text from Michael Probst?
Yeah.
He actually messaged me back. I blocked him. And I figured out that he is the real name of the Jewish hacker.
Oh, wow.
So, I now know. And he probably created those fake Instagram troll accounts of me.
Yeah.
Because do you remember those fake Instagram troll accounts?
Yeah, I remember those.
Do you remember the iTunes F boy?
I've never heard of that, but I have heard of a few other ones.
Yeah. There's other troll accounts that I don't know about.
I think that Meow Tech YT told me about one, but I think he also told you about that. Or
Yeah, I was well aware of that troll, and he told me about that, and I reported his account and everything. And my second troll, and so yeah, yeah. Yeah, both troll accounts that have been made on Instagram of me.
Someone actually about 5 minutes ago was going on my Instagram and there's some weird dude, like something about dogs, and he was just going and commenting all this weird crap, and I ended up blocking him.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, let me make sure nobody's done anything weird with my Instagram. Though that doesn't happen with me as much. I just had a troll account follow me on Instagram.
Oh, what's his name?
Run it, doggy.
Oh, yeah, it's the same one.
he's commented. So his first comment was on that video on that post I did about the whole phone reflecting. Do you want to run it back and blow up Walmart, doggy?
What?
Yep. And with the and with the and with the tablet, and with that post I did about that cheap tablet that I got at the used tech market, he commented, "Do you wanting to beat the bush and do things with the Mountain Dew bottle?"
That's weird.
And there's another post that I did about a sneak peek of Friday's video about why Microsoft is terrible, and he commented, "I am throwing apples at joggers on my road."
Oh wow, why would he do that?
Well, he's clearly not actually doing that. And then
This guy's nuts.
and that on that post that I did about my iPhone 14 rumors video, he commented, why am I Williaming him? I'm not.
What does that mean?
And then he commented about that post that I did about tractors, about the chicks at Tractor Supply Co. Did you see the chickens or the chick? Very goat. Did you play with my tractor? My doggy think my tractor is goated.
This guy does not sound like the most intelligent person.
And then Run It Doggy commented on another one of my posts, just Doggy McDude. And then his second one. And then he commented about that first post that I did about Michael Props scam calling me. He commented, "Why are you FaceTiming me, dog it out?"
So he's probably the guy that's sending all that?
Yep. Okay. Oh, yeah, I know. I think his real name is Michael Propst for what he's doing. Let me actually see what Run It Dog. Let me go to his. No posts yet. Very suspicious. 13 following. Oh, and this is just a troll account of me. Okay. I am just going to block this guy. And I'm also going to report this guy, too.
What he said on my post was, let me look. He said, I am sleeping in the doghouse, doggy. Then he said, where was it? Blocked him, but I had screenshots. He said something about, like, throwing dogs at something. He said something safe for work about a clock.
Oh, Run It Doggy claims to be Tedward McFaggart. Okay, the Jewish hacker Michael Propst. So yeah. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that's definitely a little weird. I guess it was a good thing that I checked my Instagram.
Yeah, I guess this guy is. I know that he's also messing with my friend Elias or Meowtech.
Yeah, and he's messing with you too, obviously.
Yeah, so I guess this guy's just a menace to the community.
And he's also messing with Device Collector 71.
This guy's messing with everyone, isn't he?
Yeah, we need to make. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm really wondering if I can report him to the authorities about that.
As long as he's not really technically like threatening you, I don't think they can do anything, because there was a case with this little kid calling my house constantly a few months back.
Yeah.
And the police said as long as he's not threatening anyone, they can't really do much about it.
Yeah, so In other words, we've got a menace in the community.
Yeah.
Let me actually check my Twitter, make sure I'm not getting trolled on there.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be. Nope, my Twitter is not being trolled. It is still safe.
Alright, that's good.
So, yes. I don't think. Somehow I'm not too convinced that Michael Probst is a native. Speaks English as his primary language.
Yeah, I think he might be like some other language. I think he might be Indian maybe because he's always like he's either like Indian, maybe like Chinese, maybe Spanish.
Yeah, I don't. So he definitely doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
Trolls are so ridiculous sometimes. That's funny.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about the trolls, so we're only giving him more steam.
Yeah, but I mean, the more steam he gets, the more people are also gonna get mad at him and start messing with him. So
Yeah.
he's gonna get himself.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, the next troll account that he's creating, I choose not to mess with him, with the troll, just because I prefer not to I prefer not to have anything negative come out of that, but sometimes I think I should.
Yeah, sometimes it's best to start talking like, do you know how to speak my language? Or not that, but like, do you know how to speak English? Or are you using the Google Translate? Because sometimes you're like, yes, I know how.
Yeah, even though you clearly know that Tedward McFaggart is not very good at speaking English.
Yeah.
Teddy Maggart, who is me, is good at speaking English.
Yeah, obviously you're pretty good at speaking English.
Because obviously I've been speaking it since I was 6 months old.
Yeah.
Speaking of, do you want to know what my first words were?
What was that?
So I was really mad that I was getting ready to go on a trip when I was 6 months old, and I was apparently really concerned that I wasn't getting my milk. So I cried, "Mama, Baba."
I don't know what mine was.
You should actually ask your parents that. They might remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about on this episode?
Let me think. I don't think so.
Oh, and speaking of, that troll account just iMessaged me.
What did he say?
Why did you block it, doggy? My real name is Nick Guh.
This guy's crazy.
And yet his email, this fake email that he's emailing from is debstool2002@gmail.com. Oh, and he's texting something back. Oh, and he's texting something else. Oh boy, we have to see what it is first.
Yeah.
I am the real tool. My Nick Gurr is what he replied. Okay. I'm going to finally ask him, do you know how to speak English? That'll sure get him suspicious. Oh, and he's replying. Oh, this may be a robot.
Yeah.
He's still typing.
Yeah.
Has he sent anything to you?
No, not yet.
He said, I do know how to clutch up with the goods with English, my dogitis doggy McManus. I am coming to the doggitis land of the sneakerheads.
What does that mean?
I'm going to ask him that. Oh, and he's immediately responding.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask him if he's a robot. That's the next thing.
Yeah.
Okay, he responded, and I'm going to ask him now if he's a robot.
That's good.
It says delivered, read. Okay, hang on a second. He's typing. He says, I am not robot. I am a bird head. Why are you clucking with Hubert?
Oh, that one dude in the community?
Yeah. I'm going to reply, I blocked him. Are you Hubert? To see what he responds. He says he's making dog noises. Alright. I'm going to finally tell him that he's very dumb. You are threatening the community, and I am recording my podcast right now, so you'll get he asked me if he asked me for money.
With the Apple Pay thing?
I don't know. So with a bad reputation. Okay, let's see what he responds. He told me to shut up. That I'm a nerd.
This guy's crazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell him that he knows about you too. And so does Elias. So that way he knows that he said, gourd bye, doggy. He says he's smelling bird turds.
Ah, this guy's nuts.
I'm going to tell him that I'm not going to stop reporting him and that I reported him.
Yeah, he's gonna...
I'm going to ask him how he got my email address.
Yeah.
Just to see what he responds if he says they got off of Google, like what he said with you.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that troll didn't message you yet.
No, he hasn't iMessaged me yet.
Mike Propst claims how he got my email address, and he's typing something else. Oh boy, this is going to be quite good. And I'm going to tell him, okay, the Jewish hacker Michael Propst and my troll name accounts. Okay, and he called me Ted Workmanicker. Okay, now he's probably not going to message me back. Oh, he is. Okay.
What did he say?
He said he's blocking me, even though... Hang on, I'm gonna actually block him from my iPhone 8 Plus, because I can't do it from a Mac.
Yeah.
He said, let him smell his dog first. He smells like cheap weed and applesauce. Just like I would claim that he smelled like applesauce the first time he got me.
This guy's nuts.
And I'm going to delete it. He said, "Goodbye, doggy to Gabrielle."
Wow.
This troll is sometimes absurd.
Yeah.
Oh well. I guess now all I have to say. So I guess now we should roll with our outro.
Yeah, it was a very interesting podcast to say the least.
Yes, we from talking about iPhone 14 rumors to tech giants to Walmart to trolls to our stories. This has been another episode of the iApple Tree podcast. Hopefully there will be another episode on Friday, and after the upcoming episode we will start having guests on this podcast. So thank you guys for watching or listening to this podcast. I am iAppleTree, aka the iTunes fanboy, aka Teddy.
I'm Tabby Pears.
And peace out.
Alright, I'll see you on Friday.
Alright.